Hey, Shalom, Akim, Shalom, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Hakwadash, giving double honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone who taught me this truth. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect. Peace and salutations to the Akim, the brethren out there on the highways and byways, pushing this truth in 100% sincerity. And peace and salutations to the few and sincere sisters who believe in this gospel. So I want to entitle this lesson, the Karmelo Anthony and Rick Chow verdict, what Esau is really telling you, right? Because when we look at what's going on with these two situations, these two cases, the verdict with Rick, the verdict with Rick Chow out in South Carolina being acquitted of murder, right, for shooting a 14-year-old Jake in the back, who was fleeing from him. They acquitted him and said, they ruled that it was self-defense and they ruled that, it was okay. And then you have this situation with a kid down in Texas, in Frisco, Texas, I believe, named Karmelo Anthony, who also claimed self-defense in a stabbing of a dude named Austin Metcalf or whatever. The dude, Austin Metcalf, allegedly tried to attack him and his brother, and he ended up getting stabbed by Carmelo Anthony, and he ended up dying, right? And they ruled that as murder, first degree murder, actually. And they said that, they sentenced him to 35 years in prison. So Esau is really sending a precedent. They're really sending a message to you Israelites, as well as the heathen nations, and as well as other Edomites here in Babylon the Great, right? And me speaking as a man, what they're saying is that it's okay for Edomites and the heathen nations to kill us, claim self-defense, and get off, and you'll be getting off scot-free. But then if you want to claim this self-defense as a Jake for somebody attacking you, somebody who has a history of bullying, beating people up, somebody who was actually on that day suspended and shouldn't have been there, right? If you claim self-defense for somebody attacking you, then, it's not self-defense, it's murder, right? If you end up unaliving that person. So what this reminds me of is a similar decree back in the book of Esther, where there was a decree made for the heathen to basically, or to allow the other nations to basically, you know, put all the Israelites to death, unalive all of the Israelites, right? Now, the difference from that time, though, is there was also a counter decree that said that the Israelites could defend themselves, right? And primarily at that time, it was the Southern Kingdom, because that was under the Medo-Persian Empire. But that's the difference between that time, right? But now we're dealing with Esau Edom, and he's trying to send a similar message, but he doesn't want you Israelites to defend yourselves. He's trying to discourage you from defending yourself at all costs, right? He's trying to keep you from defending yourself. You know what I'm saying? He just wants you to be put, you know, to be put under subjection and to allow them to do as they will to you, which is to really annihilate and exterminate you, right? That's really what they want to happen to you Israelites, is they really just want you up out the mix completely. Like, if you couldn't exist, these devils would be happy. But we also understand via prophecy that's not going to understand. That's not going to happen, right? So let's go ahead and get into the scriptures, man. It's the book of Zechariah, chapter 11, and verse 5. It says, whose possessors slay them. Actually, let me start up. Verse 3, it says, there is a voice of the howling of the shepherds, for their glory is spoiled, a voice of the roaring of young lions, The pride of Jordan is spoiled. Thus saith the Lord my power, feed the flock of the slaughter, whose possessors slay them, and hold themselves not guilty. And they that sell them say, blessed be the Lord, for I am rich. And their own shepherds pity them not, right? Because Jake, we've basically been, for the most part, have been able to be, unalived with impunity by these devils, right? And now so by these heathen as well, right? Basically, we have been able to be unalive with impunity. These people can do whatever they want to do to us and get off. But then when Jake respond and try and defend himself, now they saying, oh, no, 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 you can't do that. You can't do that, Mr. Black Man. You can't do that, right? You got to let them kill you. You got to let them do what they want to do to you. You got to let them harm you. Because if you try and defend yourself, it's going to be murder. We're going to put you in jail, right? That's the message that they send. That is the message that they're sending to us, right? And these people starting off with these Edomites, they've been our possessors. They've been the ones who have been holding us in the captivity. They've had a history of, unaliving Jake and just getting away with it scot-free. Hey, just look back in the Jim Crow era with all of the lynchings. With the first lynching actually being right here in St. Louis, Missouri. You know? And they get away with that stuff. They get away with hanging you, burning you. That's where the concept of the picnic came from, right? Pick a nigga to hang, murder, burn, dismember, mutilate, castrate. These are the things that this devil has had a history of doing to us. They've had a history of doing these things to us, and they want to continue on in that. They want to continue on in doing these things. So these are the times that we're coming into, man. Right? But let's go look at this account in Esther. It's the book of Esther, chapter 3, starting at verse 8, and it says, and Haman, which we believe to be Vocab Malone, but we believe that Vocab Malone is the reincarnation of Haman, right? And it says, and Haman said unto King Ahasuerus, there is a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the people in all the provinces of thy kingdom, and their laws are diverse from all people, neither keep they the king's laws. Therefore it is not for the king's prophets to suffer them. If it please the king, let it be written that they may be destroyed, and I will pay 10,000 talents of silver to the hands of those that have the charge of the business to bring it to the king's treasuries. And the king took his ring from his hand and gave it to Haman, the son of Hammedatha, or Hammedatha, the Agagite, and the Jews' enemy. And the king said unto Haman, the silver is given to thee, the people also, to do with them as it seemeth good to thee. Then were the king's scribes called on the 13th day of the first month, and there was written according to all that Haman had commanded unto the king's lieutenants, and to the governors that were over every province, and to the rulers of every people of every province, according to the writing thereof, and to every people after their language, in the name of King Ahasuerus was it written, and sealed with the king's ring. And the letters were sent by post into all the king's provinces to destroy, to kill, and to cause to perish all Jews, both young and old, little children and women, in one day, even upon the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month Adar, or Adar, and to take the spoil of them for a prey, right? So it was decreed that all of the Israelites, right, which at this time the Jews, which is the southern kingdom, the kingdom of Judah, all of them, where it was decreed to annihilate them, basically exterminate them. Young, old, men, women, children, everybody. And this is the same spirit that Esau's coming in. And this is really the same spirit that Vocab Malone is coming in too. because he's trying to link us with Islam. He's trying to link us to domestic teism. He's trying to link us to violence, even though he doesn't have any track record of violence that we've committed against anybody. And really, all of the violence has come from his people, Esau, Edom. All of the violence is coming from his people against us. But he's trying to portray us as, as the people who are a danger to the public of this country. You know what I mean? And those who don't come under that Christian doctrine, that Christian dogma, those who don't come under that, they're deemed as radicals per se, right? So this is the same spirit that they're coming in. This is the same thing that they want to do to us, right? And I believe in chapter 4 or chapter 8, the king got word of it because Esther, she went to the king, and the king got word of the decree that he made, and that it was made by Haman, and Haman, did it out of, his own hatred toward us. The king, he couldn't go back on the decree that he made, but he made another decree that said that the Israelites could defend themselves. And Jake ended up fucking these heathen up, right? They basically set a purge day for Israel. It's basically what happened. Slovakia. Yeah, this is the book of Genesis, chapter 49 and verse 9. It says, Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. He stooped down, he couched as a lion, and as an old lion, who shall rouse him up, right? Because Judah is the southern kingdom, mainly Judah is more so like a chill, laid back type of people. But if you rouse Judah up, Judah gets shit cracking. And I personally believe if something happened to that dude, Carmelo Anthony, if something happened to him in jail, you know what I'm saying? If something happened to him in jail where he either get harmed or he could get unalived in jail, hey man, Jake gonna tear the streets up. Right? Cause Jake has done this before. Hey, look at you go back to the Rodney King verdict, right? Back in the 90s. And what was Jake out there in LA doing? Look up them videos of what Jake was doing out there in LA, pulling these Edomites out of cars, whooping them. I think they unalived some of them. You know what I'm saying? Like you couldn't be pale and ride down the street that day and during that time. You couldn't be no pale person riding down the street because you was getting ripped out your car. You know what I'm saying? So we've seen this before. We've seen Jake get roused up and Jake turn into a young lion, turn the streets up. It's the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 16, and verse 70. It says, For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord, right? So, to come after the men of the Lord, the prophets, they're going to come after all of Israel. They're going to come after all of Yasha'Allah, right? It's not going to be just, Judah. As the brothers in Chicago say, Northern Kingdom get it worse. Northern Kingdom get it first, but Judah get it worse. But it's going to be all of the tribes, man. They're going to come after all of the tribes trying to get to the men of the Lord. Verse 71, they shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as the gold in the fire, right? And it's going to be known who are the Lord's chosen, because what? The Lord is going to raise up a standard. And the Lord is going to allow his men to defend themselves against what may seem like an inevitable destruction for our people. But it's not going to be inevitable for the elect, right? Because the elect are going to be saved out of destruction. But while this is going on, man, the Lord is going to give us spiritual powers. The Lord is going to raise up the standard. You know, while most Israelites are going to be reliant on their guns and what little firepower they have, you're going to see the men of the Lord, man, doing some amazing things. You're going to see the men of the Lord doing some miraculous works in that day. As Yahweh Shah said, you know, in that day, greater works shall ye do than I did, roughly paraphrasing. So, man, we're going to do great things, man. The Lord is going to protect, and the Lord is going to watch over his elect, and the Lord is going to make sure that we're good. You know, Lord willing, myself, and brothers, we be of that number. But the Lord is going to make sure his elect are good in that day. So as long as we keep faith, as long as we believe, we truly believe, sincerely believe, we ain't got nothing to worry about. So yeah, man. With that, man, Lord willing, this video lesson was edifying, giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Chakwadash. And until next time, Shalom.